day. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard at Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Tuesday, September 24th. My goodness, we're deep into fall.
Would you care to comment on the rumor that you arranged for an automobile to be purchased for Neon Bedell?
You know, Ed, you just got to get your mind out of the gutter. You know, you just got to start thinking straight. I mean, it's right there in front of you. For Christ's sake, it wasn't an automobile. I mean, it was a fully loaded Lexus. The damn car had everything. It had everything, didn't it, Happy? I mean, that car was fully loaded, wasn't it?
No, Coach. It was a nuclear surfboard, remember?
You know, and the damn thing of it is, Ed, is, Neon, he didn't want it. He didn't want the car. He didn't ask for anything.
Neon Boudreaux's getting cars in Kansas, apparently. Things not going well out in Lawrence. Kansas notification of they're in trouble. 3 level 1s, notification of notice of allegations. 3 level 1s, including the big one, the coach, the lack of institutional control. Bill Self. That was a pun, unintended. Bill Ego. Bill Self. He's in trouble. This time the NCAA might have a little teeth to their bite for once. They've got a lot of information from the federal trial that's gone on over the last 2 years, the FBI investigation into college basketball, corruption into the shoe companies. Gasnola and all those characters from Adidas. You know, it's so funny. Immediately after they got that, while this was going on, you recall, while all this stuff was in court, Adidas signs that brand new contract with Adidas in the middle of all of it. And, of course, Bill Self sends the infamous message, "Thank you for getting it done. Now I just got to get some real guys." Yeah. I don't know what that means. I'm what? I have no idea what that means. It's like the dude at LSU, man. Hopefully these schools are going to be held accountable and not another Cleveland State situation, which is a joke. And if you have to explain to you, that means you're too young. That was Jerry Tarkanian of the UNLV. Once said quip that the NCAA was so mad at Kentucky, they're going to give Cleveland State another year of probation. Which is how it's been when North Carolina comes up on these ridiculous, not ridiculous charges, but charges of ridiculous behavior, academic fraud for 18 years that they're able to get away with. I'll tell you who might be in trouble is Louisville. They were already on probation when they committed level 1 violations, but I don't know that letter's been sent yet. So, but anyway, right now, Kansas is on the clock, baby. Right now, Kansas is on the clock. They've got 90 days to respond to the allegations. It could be serious. It should be serious. It is serious. It goes to the heart of college basketball. Do you really think a team in this modern age can win 14 consecutive conference championships just because they're good? Find me another league where that's even close to being possible. Not the ACC with Duke or North Carolina, not the Big Ten, not the Big 12, not the Pac-12, the Big 12, yes. But the Big 12, it happened. Kansas won 14 in a row. Come on, man. Really? Well, now the ship is, the sails have been jerked off of that ship. It is just floating at sea at the moment. What's that do for recruiting? Well, that should help Indiana right now, for one. One of their biggest targets, Dawson Garcia. North Carolina just signs a big guy, so that takes them out. Kansas is in big trouble, so that takes them out. That doesn't mean Indiana's in smooth sailing. You got Marquette to worry about. You've got Minnesota to worry about. Other places for him to go. But it does put Indiana in a better situation as far as that recruiting goes, without doubt. Lots to get to on the program today. Chronic Hoosier. It's a Chronic Tuesday, man. Almost forgot. It's a Chronic Tuesday. We'll hear from Todd Yeagley as well, because tonight Indiana men's soccer taking on Butler up in Indianapolis. Tom Allen, Cam Jones, Michael Ziemba, Hunter Littlejohn, Ty Freifogel, all from the IU football team. We'll hear from Don Fisher. The Hoosiers open up as a 14-point dog at Michigan State. Ironic, because that's what they opened up at home against Ohio State. But then that's when it changed. When Michael Penix went down, the spread went up to 18. I think this is including not having Michael Penix at the moment. Because if I'm a betting man and Michael Penix plays, which I think that he will, I'll take those points. I'll take those points. It's just all going to – Indiana's got to be able to protect the quarterback. They've got to give Michael Penix time to throw, or whomever is back there, but I'm thinking it's going to be Penix. If you give him time to throw, Indiana could be in that game. It's going to be a stern test for Indiana's defense against a veteran line of Michigan State. Hopefully that they can weather that storm, but we'll find out Saturday. It's a 3:30 contest. Looking forward to that. Tonight, like I said, the men's soccer program up in Butler at the Butler Bowl. That'll be a loud, raucous environment. There'll be 5,000 people there. It's a big-time event for the Butler Bulldogs. It's a great regional game. Butler's got a good soccer program. It's a great regional matchup. Coach Yeagley called them little derbies. Love that. Let's hear what Coach Yeagley had to say.
We don't lose focus on the Big Ten. Certainly it's its own kind of season within the season. But these are great little derbies, whether we're playing Kentucky or Butler or Louisville or you name it. Those are great midweeks for us, and they help our RPI. They help us prepare for the tournament. So all positive things, even though it's very unique in our sport. Most conferences, sports, once you start conference play, typically don't deviate out of it.
Great little derbies. Love that. Never heard that before. That was pretty cool. Those are great little derbies. But yeah, you wonder why Indiana plays so well in the tournament each year. Is because look at the schedule they play. First of all, they already play in the Big Ten, the toughest division, toughest conference in all of college soccer. Then you add the preseason schedule they throw in there. They're usually playing a Kentucky, a Louisville, a North Carolina, a Wake Forest, a UCLA, Pitt, Butler. I mean, they're not playing the little sisters of the poor. It certainly helps. You heard him say it. Hey, we're going to hear from Cam Jones, Michael Ziemba, Hunter Littlejohn, Ty Freifogel, several of the IU football players today. Coach Allen also spoke with media yesterday. Of course, the question about Michael Penix, he is expected to practice And if he practices, I think he'll play. If he doesn't play, I don't think Indiana has a shot to win that game. If he does, I think they do. I would definitely take the 14 points. But you have to also wonder, Michael Penix has been out he's not been able to practice for 2 weeks. What that's like, what that's done for him. It's definitely got to affect the timing a little bit because you saw that Ramsey was a little better in his second game than his first. But, of course, Ohio State had a lot to do with that. I don't get excited over Ramsey's, superbly high passing percentage rate because they're all 5-yard passes. I promise you, every other quarterback that's played the position said, well, if you took away all of my throws downfield, I'd have a high percentage rate too. But that's the thing that's missing to that offense. Text into the show. What's with these players taking advantage of the 4-game rule? Was supposed to be directed towards freshmen, but look at Houston's Dan King, starting quarterback for them, had a great 3 years now, says he's going to redshirt and come back next year, but may transfer. Does not make sense. Well, actually, it's not directed at freshmen particularly. It's mostly used for freshmen. But this is actually going to come into play for Coy Cronk. He's a 4th-year senior. But because this happened within that 4-game window, he's going to be able to come back and play another year. Otherwise, his career would have been cut short and over. That's the big reason for it. It allows a player, any player of any age, the ability to have that extra year in case something catastrophic happens. Nick Westbrook, Donovan Hale, there's been so many guys that rule wasn't around for those guys, but that's just a straight up red shirt. But yeah, it just, Coy Cronk's a perfect example. That'd be a shame for his career to be over just because it happened because he played 4 games in 1 snap of a 5th. But he'll have the opportunity to come back. I think it's a really good rule. In football, football's a different animal, man. It's a different sport. It's a different beast. Mostly freshmen do use that rule is mainly for freshmen, without doubt, allowing them to develop, get a little taste of it. But it's not just for freshmen. It's also great for situations like Coy Cronk. Text in the show, rumors Harbaugh might be headed to the NFL after the season. Well, of course those rumors are flying. Where the hell else is he going to go, man? Whoo! It's not looking good. Did I just hear that a 7-footer from Minnesota was coming to Hoosier Hysteria? Could be Dawson Garcia. And does Dawson remove Kansas from the list? How about North Carolina getting commit from the 6'10 forward yesterday? Does NC get dropped off the list? Yes, I think so. Talked about that a little bit earlier. I think that puts Indiana in a much better position with Dawson Garcia, depending upon who was the leader for his services. There's Marquette in the mix. There's Minnesota in the mix. That they're still in the mix strongly. I think Indiana's in a better situation because I think they're the best of the blue bloods now that we're chasing them. As far as the situation goes. But these kids are looking to see if this is a good situation for them. That's what Hoosier fans are not getting. Hoosier fans see Indiana as being Indiana. Well, but it's not Indiana anymore. It's not what it was. And that's what these kids see. They weren't alive when Indiana was winning national championships. So, hey, we got a lot coming up on the program today. The Chronic Hoosier, it's a Chronic Tuesday, is going to join us. Got Cam Jones, Michael Ziemba, Hunter Littlejohn, Ty Frofogel, Tom Allen. We got a lot more to hear from. And Don Fisher coming up next. Stay tuned. Lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moyes.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club here at Eagle Point Studios in Bloomington. Hope you all have had a great weekend. Well, if not, we're about to lighten your week up with the great voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher. Don, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Jim. Thank you.
Absolutely. I hope you had a great weekend. Of course, it's a lot easier when you have start off with a win on that weekend, which the Hoosiers did for this weekend.
Well, there's no question. Obviously, Indiana needed to bounce back from the Ohio State performance a week ago, and I thought they really played well on Saturday. What I liked about what I saw, the two improvements that I saw that were pretty dramatic, the defense really played their best football game of the season, in my opinion. They tackled well. They got a turnover for a touchdown with Cam Jones's interception. They just seem to be more sound in this ball game than they have in any game thus far this season. Not so many. There weren't very many missed tackles in this contest. They just seem to be more aware of where they were at and were in the right spots and did the things that they were capable of doing. And then the other thing, they actually established an offensive run game for the first time this year, running for 178 yards. Stevie Scott got on track. He had 21 carries, almost got 100 yards himself with 97 net, averaged 4.6 yards per carry. I just thought that was really important to get the running game going. But it also brings up the negative that happened in this ball game as well at the offensive line position with Coy Cronk going down with what looked to be a major injury, and still we think probably it could be season-ending, but I've got nothing official on that. But the way they carted him off and got the card out there immediately once the injury occurred, you could tell this was a very serious situation. Whether it's knee or ankle, we don't know that just yet, but we'll find more out about that here in the next probably 6 or 7 hours, because the press conferences take place late this morning and early this afternoon, and I'm sure Tom Allen will reveal what the situation is with Coy. I'm not very optimistic about it being a favorable conclusion.
Yeah, and you hate to see that any injury with any kid, but especially when they're a senior. Fortunately, Coy has the opportunity to maybe come back for a redshirt season if that turns out to be the case. But, man, you just hate to see, because you know how hard they've worked for 4 years, 5 years. You know how hard they've worked through fall camp, and you're just now getting into the season, and it just stinks in any way. But especially when it's not only a senior, but he's a co-captain. He's an anchor for this line and for this team.
Yeah, you very arguably say that he was the best offensive lineman on this ball club, the most veteran certainly. I think he missed one game as a starter prior to that in his career. This guy started as a true freshman. So you got to look at it from the standpoint, it's just heartbreaking for him to be a senior on this football team, to be a co-captain, and then to go down with an injury like this if it in fact is season-ending. And I don't know what his status will be until we hear today, but I think we're all praying for Coy, and hopefully it's not as serious as what it looked like on Saturday.
On the other side of the coin, Peyton Ramsey having a really good day. He went 23 of 27, another very efficient day with 247 yards. A lot of receivers getting the ball, and like you said, the offense just itself, with the running game getting untracked, with Stevie Scott getting those 97 yards. They looked a lot more balanced and efficient and effective.
There's no question about that. Peyton Hendershot has been a real shot in the arm, if you'll excuse the pun, based on his performances so far this year. Made some really nice catches again, had another touchdown thrown to him. Ty Freifogel made his presence felt for the first time this year in a significant way with 5 catches as well. Whop Phillier, of course, he's the speed guy, and every time he touches the football, he's a threat to go the distance. So they've got some guys that are really stepping up in that area as well. I just like what I saw overall in this football game. The offense looked cohesive. The defense did its job and probably played their best ball game of the season. Didn't miss many tackles, forced a turnover with that interception. That's something that does have to get better, I think, still with this ball club. They've only got 2 picks and I think 1 fumble recovery so far this year. So they're really down in the numbers game as far as turnover ratio is concerned. That's got to pick up, and hopefully it gets better. And I guess maybe the best news of all is that despite the fact that Michael Penix has been out for 2 ball games now, you've got a veteran like Peyton Ramsey, who has been a winner since he's been at Indiana. He's done a tremendous job as a starting quarterback, and you've got a guy like that you can call on to pick up the slack when your starting quarterback is on the bench with an injury. So I think this team has the tools to really be a good football squad as the season progresses. I think they played their best football game this past Saturday. After 4 starts, certainly it was up and down in the beginning. The game against Eastern Illinois is almost an outlier because it was just such a bad football team that they played. The game against Ohio State might be the same thing, an anomaly because of how good Ohio State is and how poorly Indiana performed in that situation. But this past week against UConn, you could say they probably showed themselves a little bit more in this game than they have in any game this year.
I agree with you, Don. That team was one that gave Indiana a little bit more of a test, and both defensively and offensively they came through. And not only that, it's giving Peyton Ramsey a little bit of opportunity to get more in sync since he had not been taking all those number one snaps. And then another thing, Michigan State, they have absolutely no idea who to prepare for, whether it's Michael Penix or Peyton Ramsey. And I think that's a very good thing for Indiana.
Well, I think they always, and I think most coaches do this, and I've heard a lot of guys talk about this. When Ryan Day was asked who he thought Indiana was going to start in that ball game against Ohio State, he said, it doesn't matter, we prepared for both of them. So I think most coaches, they're not dumb guys. They pretty much know what's going on in regard to who the quarterback might or would be, and they prepare, get their football team ready for everybody. The real key in this game against Michigan State, couple of things. Number one, it's Indiana's first true road game of the year. They played at Lucas Oil Stadium against Ball State, felt like a home game. Yeah, they traveled up to Indianapolis the night before and all those kinds of things, but it still wasn't a true road game. I don't think that anybody felt that. They're going to feel like this is a true road game when they go to Michigan State on Saturday, when they head up to East Lansing. They're going to face one of the best defenses in the country, a team that's giving up less than 180 yards a game of total offense to their opponents. They have dominated everybody from a defensive standpoint that they've played. Tulsa, Western Michigan, Arizona State did beat them, but it was a 10-7 score. And, of course, last week against Northwestern, their offense kicked in, and Brian Lewerke had a great ball game at quarterback, and Elijah Collins is a really good running back that's solidified their run game with Connor Hayward in the backfield. And they've got a receiver, Darrell Stewart, who has just been tremendous. He's got 30 catches already. They go to him early and often, and he is a real weapon for them. So it's going to be a real test for this Indiana football team, and I'm looking forward to it because I do think that the Ohio State game was a bit of an anomaly, and we're going to find out if it was truly that or if this Indiana football team is going to struggle even more. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think the good news is this is such a young team, Jim, that this team is progressing. And that's what you want to see as you go along. Can they make improvements? They certainly did on Saturday against UConn. They certainly ran the ball better, and the defense, I thought, played their best game of the season. So if they can continue to make those kinds of improvements week in and week out, this will be a really good football team by season's end.
Absolutely, and you could actually see that on the field Saturday. You could see they weren't missing tackles. They weren't giving up large chunks of plays. They were doing what they were supposed to do, covering their assignments. Tywan Mullen, a freshman who's just getting better and better every game on that young defense. So you can see the progress coming if you pay attention, without doubt.
Yep, I think the real question mark now is the offensive line because of the Kronk injury. What they do there, we knew going in that this was going to be a depth issue with the offensive line this year. They weren't very deep. Matthew Bedford, a true freshman, came in and played some this past Saturday because of Kronk's injury. They did move Caleb Jones over to the left tackle position to protect the blind side for Peyton Ramsey after the injury to Kronk. Devondre Love came in as a senior and played at that right tackle spot. They still moved the ball on the ground some after Kronk's injury, so that's a positive. But the real question mark is the offensive line more than anything else in this football team, in my opinion. If they're going to progress and be as good as we hope that they're going to be, they've got to take steps in that department. They've got to get better each and every week that they play. They've got to develop some depth there, too. I'm not quite sure what the injury with Kronk is going to do in that department, if Bedford's going to be the only guy that can step up. Love obviously has come in there and did play this past week. Hopefully those things kind of figure themselves out to some degree. But I think the offensive line coach, Mr. Hiller, has got his work cut out for him.
Absolutely, and a game this week in which I think that Indiana actually has a chance in this game because while Michigan State is without doubt one of the best defenses Indiana will face this season, especially against the run, Indiana excels on the passing side, and if they can get that game going, that may loosen that defense up and give Indiana an opportunity to do something special up in East Lansing.
Well, that's right. And the question now is, will Penix be ready? If he is ready, will he be back as the starter, or will Peyton Ramsey? Because Ramsey obviously has done a pretty good job here in the first 2 weeks that he's been the starter. The good news is, like I said before, they've got two really quality quarterbacks And I think Jack Tuttle is going to be really good as well at some point. He just hasn't had the same opportunity as the other two guys have. But at any rate, they've got two very quality quarterbacks at this juncture, and you're going to have to prepare for both, and I think that is a positive.
We're getting ever increasingly close to basketball season, Don. You'll be pulling double duty. Archie Miller got involved Saturday. The BTN tailgate was in town, and he was over there. Was a guest on that show talking. But man, it's right around the corner. Hoosier Hysteria and media days next week, and it's almost here.
It is. There's no question. Basketball, of course, has always been the big story at Indiana. And I think this year there are real question marks for this basketball team, just like there have been for this football team. And after last year, you know that there are question marks because of the struggles that they had in Big Ten play with those 12 losses and 13 ball games. That was just disastrous for that ball club. However, this coach is a really good basketball coach. Archie Miller, I think, does a tremendous job. I still think that there are things that have got to be fixed with this ball club. And the only thing that fixes some of those things are recruiting. And I do think he got a couple of really outstanding players to come in this year. Trace Jackson Davis, Mr. Basketball in the state, I think is a fabulous talent. Armand Franklin, I think, is probably better than a lot of people know about. At the same time, they can't do it all. And, of course, they got transfer Joey Brunk in as well from Butler. I think he's going to add something to this ball club also. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all fits together and how they look as the season begins back in November. But, you know, right now, all we have to worry about right now is the football team because they're the only ones playing for real.
Yeah, and I know the fans love it because they get a double dose of Don Fisher, but how difficult is it when it's this overlap part of the season, when you got to work on football and basketball because there's so much information to digest?
Well, I don't know how tough it is because I've been doing it for so long. It just kind of seems natural. But it is a busy time. There's no question about that. We'll have probably 8 or 9 basketball games with 4 football games and 8 talk shows, all those kinds of things in the month of November alone. It is a lot of preparation time, but you kind of get used to it in some respects. The bad news is that it does provide some conflict situations where you can't do everything, and that's what really ticks me off because I always want to do every basketball game and every football game and every coach's show. Those are the jobs that I like the best and the things that I do the most of. And unfortunately, we're going to get a game or two this year that I can't do because of the conflicts that football and basketball running the same month put forth. So it's just difficult sometimes in that regard.
And I know as a fan, there's nothing more disappointing than tuning in an IU game and not hearing Don Fisher doing it. It doesn't matter what kind of a game it is. You want to hear Don doing the game. Don, I can't thank you enough, man.
It's nice of you to say. I appreciate that. But we have good subs in there. Greg Murray does a great job when he takes over. He does the women's basketball games for Indiana and does a terrific job when he subs in for us as well. But more than anything else, it's just selfish on my part because I want to do them all.
Yeah, well, the fans want you. Don't worry. But Don, thank you so much, brother. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you at the press conference later today.
All right, thanks, Jim.
You bet. That's the great Don Fisher, the voice of the Hoosiers, joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios here on this Tuesday, September 24th. I think we're officially in fall, man. Can't complain. We've got unbelievably beautiful fall weather, as it was what you would call a crisp morning in Bloomington. Should be the we decline that phone call right there. Thank you very much. Wow, that's unusual to get that to happen. 55 degrees this morning. Yeah, it was chilly, but that's what you want. High of 80, no humidity. That means it's fall, baby.
Football weather.
Football weather. Speaking of football, Indiana's got it this weekend as they travel up north. East Lansing, Michigan, taking on the Michigan State Spartans in a game that the Hoosiers are 14-point underdogs in right now. I'll take those points. I believe Michael Penix is going to play. I don't think that reflects Indiana using Mike Penix. I think that they can actually win that game with him because the throw is something that Michigan State is susceptible to. They have got a great defense. The rush defense is incredible, impeccable. They're just a really good defense overall. If Indiana can protect the quarterback, and that's a big if after losing Coy Crunk. You already have a relatively thin offensive line as it is. If they can protect Michael Penix, I think they got a shot at it. But Michigan State certainly got better between the last couple of weeks after I saw them lose 10-7 to Herm Edwards in Arizona State. They took it to Northwestern, which Northwestern was thought by some to be potential winner of the Western Division. Not so. That's not going to happen. I'll tell you who is looking good is Wisconsin. Whoo, boy, did they put it on Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. That was a spanking. And did you see the schedule that Michigan plays the rest of the year? Now, you think Indiana's got a tough schedule? Michigan's got 5 ranked opponents on their upcoming schedule yet. That includes Notre Dame, who looked very good over the weekend down in Georgia. They looked really. I thought that I was impressed by what Notre Dame did between the hedges. They gave Georgia all they wanted, and Georgia is considered one of the best teams in the country. They're ranked number 3. But yeah, Michigan's got a heck of a schedule, man. It's tough as well. But the thing is, they're not playing that well. They are not playing that well. This could be a bad season for Jim Harbaugh in Ann Arbor. What happens if they get just smoked by Ohio State again, which is looking like that's a very good possibility. Very good possibility. They're not looking good. And how long does this Jim Harbaugh era go before they're finally like, yeah, this ain't working? Because it's never risen up to postseason potential. Was it 2 years ago they were the only team to lose a bowl game in the Big Ten? So, and the last 2 trips that they've made to Bloomington, which this is down the road, but those games have gone to overtime. But a lot of exciting things going on. Of course, later today, I'll be out at Assembly Hall for IU's Media Day. We'll be meeting with several of the players. Well, I guess virtually all of the players. Tomorrow, we'll talk to Archie Miller. They had to split it up for some reason. Next week, we're off to Chicago for the Big Ten Media Days. And then next Saturday is Hoosier Hysteria. I can't believe next Saturday's freaking October, man. This is crazy. I wish you could see Jake. I have to look at this. He looks like a monk. He's got this hoodie on, but it's dark, and it looks like one of those brown frocks rolled up around his neck. He's got the head shaved, not completely, but just high and very, very tight, and the goatee's very tight. He looks like a movie character. You should be playing some badass in a movie. You look like an assassin.
I play a badass every day.
The monk assassin. The friar. Soccer today. Men's soccer. They head north up to Indianapolis to the Butler Bowl to take on Butler in a non-conference match. We talked to Coach Yeagley yesterday. Talked about that very thing, about jumping in and out of conference play. I'm not sure what you have brought up, Jake, but whatever you have, that's fine. Just play what you have. He's got it. They've done a kind of a neat thing the last couple of weeks. They had Steve Aird in there the week before last, and this week it was Todd Yeagley. Along before the football press conference, they brought someone else that allows us to meet with them without having to go someplace else and to get it done, and it gives them some coverage. But here's Coach Yeagley meeting with the media yesterday.
Certainly, it's its own kind of season within the season. But these are great little derbies, whether we're playing Kentucky or Butler or Louisville or you name it. Those are great midweeks for us, and they help our our RPI. They help us prepare for the tournament. So all positive things, even though it's very unique in our sport. Most conferences, sports, once you start conference play, typically don't deviate out of it.
Did we play him earlier? The Derby, the one with the Derby? Because I couldn't hear it. I thought so, but great little Darbies. Love that, man. Great little Darbies. But being without Coy Crunk is going to make it very difficult on Indiana's line this week. But not only that, so you got that going. You get the offensive line. They don't know who the quarterback's going to be, man. They have no idea who the quarterback is going to be. And so yesterday we got to meet with some of those guys, and one of them was Hunter Littlejohn, who's right in the thick of it. Jake, hit up old Hunter Littlejohn and see what he had to say.
Been going back and forth with the quarterbacks all year, not knowing who's going to start each game. Does that make it any harder for the O-line to prepare, or is it the same sort of thing each week?
No, it doesn't really make a difference. I think with both Peyton and Penix, I mean, they're similar players in a lot of ways, at least from our point of view. And whoever's playing quarterback, we trust, we have faith in. It really doesn't change our game whatsoever.
Going against a defense that obviously does very well against the run, how have you guys challenged yourself to prepare this week?
You know, I think a big thing is just going to be the physical demeanor we bring to practice just tomorrow and Wednesday. Our 2 padded days, we just got to make sure that we get knocking heads a little bit and just get used to that kind of used to the game speed. I mean, you can't draw it up perfectly. I mean, never is like that. But I think we just got to put a huge emphasis on making sure we get some physicality in practice the next couple of days.
Absolutely. Getting heads a little bit. That's what you want to hear. Getting out and getting serious about it. They're going to have to get serious about it because there's going to be some head knocking going on, man. Michigan State is a tough Big Ten opponent, Big Ten East opponent. You got Mark D'Antonio, who I just do not like. I'm just not a fan. I just don't like the brand that they teach there. I don't feel that there's control in that program. Which I'm not saying it's out of control. Just I've seen some things over the years, punching a player, and when Morgan Ellison was running back here, he was on the bottom of a pile, and one of their players is punching him in the throat, literally punching him in the throat. Then you've got the D'Antonio crap that he let get by that guy that got arrested 7 times, and right before the Indiana game, and he sat him out for a play. And then there's all the other crap that D'Antonio was always mentioned with. I was not a fan. I just don't have any respect for him. And then he thinks he's Bill Belichick on top of that. You need to win some championships before you think you're Bill Belichick. It just cracks me up, the coaches that develop that persona. You can go back and look at how they used to be a few years ago, and they're very, very different. People change. I get that. But you only get to morph into this moody, odd character when you win like Belichick does. Kind of can't do it when you don't win. And not that they've been a losing program. They certainly haven't won any Big Ten titles here of late, to my knowledge. Just my opinion. Also got to hear from several of the players yesterday, including Ty Freifogel, one of Indiana's leading receivers on the season. He got a lot of love. He had 5 receptions over the weekend. That's the first time he's led the Hoosiers, I think, in receptions this year. But it's been a tie every time. I think Peyton Hendershot also had 5 in that game, which is not the first time he's had 5. I think he leads the team overall in receptions, but we got to speak with Ty Freifogel. Here's what he had to say.
I feel like the Ohio State we didn't have a practice up to our standards. We feel like it wasn't good enough. And last week we came out and everybody just went to work and we had a great practice. And we have an even better practice this week going into playing Michigan State.
What are some of the challenges you think that they're going to present? Obviously, their defense is very highly ranked from a statistical standpoint. What's going to be the biggest challenge? Is it going to be execution on your part or just trying to counter what they do?
Yes, Michigan State has a really good defense. In practice, we're going to work on how to beat their defense, how to beat coverages, and everybody at the end of the day just has to do their job to the best of their abilities.
I feel everybody has good trust, has built good trust over the first month of the season that they trust that the guy next to him is going to do his job.
Yes, sir. I feel like right now we have a really good chemistry going. Everybody trusts each other. Everybody trusts that everybody's going to get their job done. I feel like we're going really, really well right now.
As good as Michigan State's defense has been, the pass is an area where they have been susceptible. Have you guys seen ways that you can use that to your advantage since the offense seems to be rolling with the passing game right now?
Oh, yes. I feel like quarterbacks, we got great quarterbacks, we got a great coaching staff. I feel like they'll figure out ways we can get past this defense in the passing game and running game. I trust everybody.
There's Ty Freifogel, one of Indiana's leading wide receivers. Before I forget, happy birthday to former basketball players Todd Lindemann and Ricky Rowe. And Matt Nover. Ricky Rowe was a joke. His character he played in Blue Chips, which we heard at the start of the show. We might have to hear that again at the start of the hour. In honor of Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks and the notice of allegations that the NCAA has leveled towards them. Very serious. 3 level ones, including a lack of institutional control, baby. That's a biggie. Hey, yesterday, Bruiser Flint was at Archbishop High School checking out 2020 point guard Rashul Diggins. He's the number 84 point guard in the country. They're digging on a point guard, man. They need one. They've been chasing one for 2 years without having been able to land one. Archie was also visiting Caleb First, along with several other schools, I believe, yesterday. You've got the Hoosier Hysteria coming up in a week and a half. Will Dawson Garcia be in attendance? I don't know. It's not been confirmed. Been said, been rumored, been bannered about. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised at all. There's no doubt that Archie is probably working diligently to get those guys to that event, thinking if he can get them to that event, that will really help sell them. Because let's be honest, he's in a predicament. He needs a point guard and he needs a big man. If he gets one more 6'7" kid, I'm going to throw a laptop through the wall. They've got a litany of those guys. But the basketball season's about to start. Recruiting season's in full swing right now. It's a busy time. Today's IU's media day. Hasn't been a lot talked about that, but we'll be out there today as soon as we're off here. We'll be talking to all the players. We'll have that for you the rest of the week. We'll have Archie Miller tomorrow, so we probably won't have that on the show until Thursday. Of course, on Thursday, we'll have the Indiana Sports Beat Report segment. On Dustin Schutte, of course, some Saturday tradition. I think we got Taylor Lynn back from Indiana Rivals. And I'm hoping to have Chris Scolari from the Detroit Free Press. He's been on the show before, but he covers Michigan State. So now that we're getting into Big Ten play, I really want to turn this into a even better segment by including a reporter from the opposing side. Got to have some opposing views, man, right? Need to get to where it's a competitive composing views and one's better than the other. Love to see that get going. May have to wait till basketball or Rutgers, but even Rutgers, you got Indiana that's so much better than Rutgers, that doesn't work. So it's not like maybe Indiana-Maryland will be a good one because you know Maryland's going to think that they're on par with Indiana, and Indiana's going to think they're on par with Maryland. So that should be a good back and forth. We don't even mention Purdue. I'm kidding. We'll have them on for that. Michigan, that could be, by the time Michigan rolls around, Michigan may not be ranked by the time Indiana gets to play them. Right now they are, and Indiana has a healthy schedule that it's looking at of teams that they're going to have to play that are ranked, including Michigan State this week, who made it into the top 25. You got Penn State on that roster yet. Michigan, of course, yet to be played. You got Northwestern, which is no longer ranked, and Nebraska that's no longer ranked, but also tough games. Northwestern coming here, but Indiana having to travel to Lincoln. Hey, we got a lot more coming up on the program, man. It's a Chronic Tuesday. It's Chronic Hoosiers going to join us in the next hour. Stay tuned. We got lots more to hear from players and coaches alike. Stay tuned. More Indiana Sports Beat back from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
That's gonna satisfy my soul deep inside. All the prayers and surveys keep the whole place uptight, while it keeps on getting darker outside. I'm a space cowboy, bet you were ready for that.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Tuesday, September 24th. Hope your week's off to a good start. If not, I'm sure we can get it headed in that direction because it is a Chronic Tuesday That means Chronic Hoosier's going to be along. We got lots more to hear from Coach Yeagley of the IU soccer team as they head up to Butler tonight for a matchup with the Bulldogs. Tom Allen, Indiana's football coach. Cam Jones, Michael Ziemba, Hunter Littlejohn, Ty Freifogel. We got a lot to get to. But I understand that there's a live press conference in Kansas. Let's go to that.
You know, Ed, you just got to get your mind out of the gutter. You know, you just got to start thinking straight. I mean, it's right there in front of you. For Christ's sake, it wasn't an automobile. I mean, it was a fully loaded Lexus.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not that's the wrong feed. That was not Kansas. That was Pete Bell from Western University and Blue Chips. Yeah, Kansas. Bill Self is feeling a little bit like Pete Bell right now this morning, as the NCAA has delivered a notice of allegations to the Jayhawks. Serious allegations, 3 level ones. Lack of institutional control. That goes to the coach. Of course, they're all scurrying about. I don't know what they're talking about. Those text messages I sent to all those Adidas guys telling them that we needed to get some big guys. I don't know how they took that. Right. Text messages of Bill Self thanking. I don't know if it was Dawkins or Gasnola. I think it was Gasnola for his help in getting that new Adidas deal done. Big fat cats making big fat salaries. Yeah, boys, how you like me now? Is this where the NCAA finally grows a pair and does something to one of the blue bloods? This may not be good for Kansas. I can promise you Louisville's in trouble. The fact that they're continue to be able to recruit such a high level is kind of amazing, because I think they've got trouble coming too. They were on probation already when they committed level 1 violations. But not a pretty picture in Lawrence, Kansas right now. Of course, I'm sure that there's not a dry eye in the other 11 conferences or 11 schools in that conference that have had to deal with Kansas winning 14 consecutive Big 12 titles. That's how you do that. You get the best players year in, year out. And how do you get the best players year in, year out? There you go. Welcome to the party. Because there's no way that these schools get these kids like they do without help. They're not the last one to fall. But they wouldn't have been able to do this without the FBI, because the NCAA just does not have. They're a toothless animal. You look at a perfect example is the fact that LSU's coach is still coaching. Ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. I mean, there's always been cheating going on. Don't get me wrong. But it's gone to a new level, and it's gone to a level where only the rich get richer. Maybe time to watch Blue Chips again. Other basketball news, Indiana's been out on the recruiting trail. Bruiser Flint, off to Archbishop High School, checking out 2020 point guard Rasul Diggins. He's number 84th point guard in the country. Indiana, of course, desperately needing to land a point guard. Have been trying to do so for 2 seasons. They let one get away right out from under their nose. But, and of course, their top target for 2021 is Christian Lander, point guard out of Evansville Rights, that they desperately want. But they want one to support Rob Finney now. But they also need a big man, and their top target, Dawson Garcia. I think they're in a lot better shape than they have been. I think this Kansas thing helps Indiana out with that. The fact that North Carolina just signed a big man, a big 6'10 dude, that helps Indiana out some. Doesn't guarantee anything, because some think that Marquette is the leader for Garcia's services. Don't forget about Minnesota. Richard Pitino has done a good job recruiting, so there's no gimmies. There's a good chance that he will be coming to Hoosier Hysteria, but nothing has been confirmed yet. And we'll wait till that is confirmed. But that's right around the corner. We don't have to wait long. It's a freaking week and a half away, man. Today is IU's Media Day. We'll be out there talking to the players. We'll have that for you tomorrow and the rest of the week and the following. Archie Miller will be speaking to us the day after tomorrow. No, the day after today, which is tomorrow. They were supposed to be together, but they had to change it. Archie was in to see Caleb first yesterday, I understand. As that's another big that they've been chasing. Indiana men's soccer on the road tonight up in Indianapolis as they take on the Butler Bulldogs at the Butler Bowl. That ought to be a heck of a match, man. I wish I could go up for that. It'll be a heck of an environment. They'll get 5,000 people to that match. They will definitely get the peeps in there. Saturday, Indiana is in East Lansing to take on the Spartans in football. I tell you, Michael Ziemba he's one of those guys that you just love to have on your team. This is a guy, he doesn't care. He just wants to play. He doesn't care about the height. He doesn't care about the ink. He just wants to play. This is a guy that you don't want to have to face every day, every play, because he's going to make your day miserable. He's going to do everything he can to make you have a miserable day on the football field. He doesn't speak in big, long answers. He just gives short, succinct, to the point, the kind of, that, hey, let's just get to business. Let's just take care of things here. Jake, if you got that, let's fire up a little piece of Michael Ziemba.
Mark Antonio, do you feel like as you start to prepare for them, you have an idea of what you expect from the Spartans in terms of establishing that power run game to go to play action and just kind of the stuff that they've always made a fundamental?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to, keep watching film. Today's the first day of the week preparing for them, but yeah, I just got to stay in the film and see what they do. I know they have a lot of, tight ends on the ball and stuff like that, so I'm going to just watch film and try to recognize their plays and just keep starting.
Last week's game, another confidence builder going up to this week. What do you guys see in the game film so far that gives you confidence this week?
I mean, we're definitely being physical. Everyone's running around, flying around, hitting people. I mean, it's been fun. But, yeah, we know, we got to have more of a sense of urgency this week, compared to UConn, and it's going to be fun.
Has the physical thing been something that's been missing for you guys in practice at least?
I don't think it's been missing, no, but, I mean, like I said, we just got to, step it up this week. It's a good team, and we'll be ready.
What's the process been like for you overall? You played a couple different positions in high school. Played both sides of the ball, and now one side of the ball ends a little bit of a different position. Just kind of take us through that transition. Sort of like, what's it been, and how does that process occur?
Yeah, I actually never played D-line in high school, so it was fun because I just played linebacker and tight end, so I was just running around. But yeah, having your hand in the ground, it's definitely different. You got to come off the ball, be physical, and I feel like I'm definitely getting better at it. So yeah. But yeah, it's been a transition. Coach Hagen's done a good job teaching me.
And then they basically want to take you from linebacker.
I read a clip on Twitter yesterday of him, and I don't know if I saw it when I was flipping through there. I don't see it, which that happens all the time, and it really angers me. Clips just disappear. But it was one where he talked about what was his favorite position, because he played linebacker and tight end, but they've been moving him to the line, which is something he never played ever. His answer just cracks me up. Let's hear that.
It was fun,
or not.
Because I just played linebacker and tight end, so I was just running around. But yeah, having your hand in the ground, it's definitely different. You got to come off the ball, be physical, and I feel like I'm definitely getting better at it. So yeah, but yeah, it's been a transition. Coach Hagan's done a good job teaching me.
And then they basically want to take it.
Actually, it's where they ask him if he has a favorite between linebacker and tight end. And he goes, or not tight end, but defensive end. And he says, oh, definitely defensive end. And he's asked why. He goes, come on. He goes, Coach Allen and Coach Hagan knew what they were doing. It's like, man, they've unleashed a monster. It was just a great answer. It was just because he's very, very short with his answers. You can tell he's a humble kid. He's just a great kid, man. He's one you want on your football team. I can tell you that. Love his mentality. Man, first time we've really got to talk to him much, but got to talk to a lot of the guys yesterday. Cam Jones is one of them. He had a great defensive performance last weekend against UConn. Of course, he had that pick six that he took back to the house, 44 yards for the touchdown. The first in over a year for the Hoosiers. But he also had some other nice plays, and it's going to take this defense stepping up. They're going to have to step it up this week as they travel to East Lansing because Michigan State's they're a full-bodied team, man. This is a big boy league game. But let's hear what Cam Jones had to say.
Like an older guy, he brings tremendous effort every single play. You can't, it's just in him. Like you can't coach that. It's in him, and I love having him next to me on the field. He's a great guy, great player.
I mean, honestly,
Kim, how does that affect a defense's mindset when you have a really good showing against Eastern Illinois, and then allow 51 points against Ohio State, have a really good showing against Connecticut, and then you're moving into Big Ten play? How can having two good games sandwiching one game that you left wanting some improvements? How I guess can that shake a defense's confidence or anything?
The game against Ohio State, that wasn't Indiana football. Our defense, we didn't play up to our standards, and right after the game, we our mindset changed. It was a focused mentality every single hour of the day. We knew what we had to do, and I mean, we got the win, but we can always get better. Defense, we just got to make plays, continue to make plays.
There you go. There's some Indiana football players as they'll head up to East Lansing this Saturday to take on Sparty. I think it's a winnable game if Michael Penix is in the game. We'll see. Hey, we got a lot more coming up here on the program. It's a Chronic Tuesday. That means Chronic Hoosiers up next from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana
Indiana basketball players. This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio Sportscast here on this Tuesday. Joined now by one of the best, your favorites, Chronic Hoosier. Chronic, how are you, my friend?
I could not be better. It's officially autumn in Bloomington, and Indiana's done with the non-conference season. They're probably as good as you could have expected. Soccer's rolling. We are officially in the fall season now, and it's a good time to be a Hoosier.
Yeah, man, that weather was incredible yesterday in Bloomington. It was awesome. There was a great breeze. There was no humidity. It was just a beautiful, beautiful day. Of course, you've got the winning flag hanging up over Memorial Stadium. Indiana with a big win, 38-3 over UConn. You got soccer rolling as well. They're back in action tonight. Big match up in Butler at the Butler Bowl tonight, by the way. But lots going on. That's all positive right now for Indiana.
It is. My daughter called it out tonight. We're starting to get that briskness to the air in the evening as well, and you gotta love it when Bloomington gets back in. Starts veering towards jeans and sweatshirt weather. We're not quite there yet. It's still pretty hot during the day, but it's making for some phenomenal chances to get outside, whether it be tailgate, go watch the soccer team. It's about as good as life in Bloomington can get once the humidity dials down. And as you mentioned, it's always a sunnier day when the victory flag is flying over Memorial.
It always helps, matter of fact. But this weekend, Indiana's got a tough one on tap as they travel for their first road game of the season. They went to Indianapolis to start the season off against Ball State, but that was it's just a quasi road game. This is a for real road game. You're in the Big Ten and you're going to East Lansing, so this is going to be a much tougher task. But I'm hoping and I'm thinking that they're going to have Michael Penix.
I would hope so. Obviously, it was a huge loss this last Saturday with Coy Cronk going out with a season-ending ankle injury. That was the one thing you always fear as an Indiana football fan is with the depth of talent that they have. Usually, there's going to be some positions where they're pretty vulnerable to injury and how that can impact the overall efficiency of the team. And obviously, when you start talking linemen, it's Coy Cronk's probably as big of a loss as you could have on that team. The center's always going to be an issue, just with the timing with the quarterback. But that's the blind side. That's fifth year. That's, I guess, fourth-year senior. He'd be eligible for a fifth if he decides to come back. Just tough loss. It was obviously a pretty painful injury. I think it was apparent to everybody that saw it. But it'd be really interesting to see how Indiana adjusts to that. I know after the game, everybody talked about, we're going to play the rest of the season out for Coy. And there's always the possibility that you kind of get that rallying around the injured brother. Some talk about moving Caleb Jones over, just the monster of a man that he is, to left tackle and kind of platooning that right side spot where he'd be vacating. So, I guess the big question mark heading into Michigan State now is with a running game that has really struggled to establish itself thus far. Obviously, they got back on track a little bit closer to where you'd like to see them against UConn, but that Michigan State defense is no joke. I think they're coming in 5th ranked in the country right now as far as total team defense. It's going to be a big test for Indiana offensively. Fortunately, it's not the most potent offensive year for D'Antonio, but that defense is going to give them all sorts of fits. So hopefully you can see Penix back there under center. Hopefully you can continue to see them expanding the passing game. And big question mark now as far as how do they adapt to that restructuring of the offensive line, and how does that impact the running game. I'm going to be real curious to see, because against a team like against Michigan State, as well as many others that they've got to face now that we've reached the heart of the conference schedule, it's going to be imperative that they maybe not necessarily racking up a couple hundred yards a game on the running game, but they're going to have to figure out a way to get some consistent yardage, get those averages up, continue to manage the down and distance as they progress downfield. Because obviously as effective as the passing has been, and I think it's worth mentioning under both quarterbacks we've seen a lot of, Ramsey did a pretty good job, after he got the Ohio State game in his rearview mirror, bouncing back, making some good throws, keeping the offense moving. Going to have to continue that, but they're going to have to find some way to balance it out with a little bit more running, I think, if you're going to keep defenses like Michigan State honest, and keep your own defense off the field. Because even if they're not getting in the end zone on every drive offensively, they got to continue to maintain some time of possession and hopefully continue to capitalize when they can get the ball in the red zone.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough test for Tom Allen in the manner that he's going to probably have Michael Penix back. But you have to also look at the fact that Michigan State, like you've talked about, their defense, they're one of the best in the country. They just shut the run down. That's not something Indiana's done well this year anyway, but you've got to be able to just protect the quarterback. And are they going to be able to protect him long enough for Michael Penix to get a long throw off? Or are you better off with a rat-a-tat-tat offense like with Peyton Ramsey, who is able to hit those quick passes? It's going to be a unique experience offensively for Indiana, I think.
No, one thing I think Kalen DeBoer's been really savvy with right now is kind of adjusting the offensive game plan to who he's had under center and what the strengths and weaknesses are, and as well as just how the flow of the game is going, how much time do they have in the pocket versus various opponents. So I think it could be, in the event that Penix is in fact back, it could be one where you maybe see some of those quicker release passes. It also could be one where you see a little bit more designed runs, because he's proven to be pretty effective when he tucks it. Just to keep them off guard a little bit. And I think you'll continue to see, a lot of unconventional passes, where they're effectively runs, short passes coming out of the backfield, maybe to, guys in motion, just getting everything they can, basically using the wide receivers effectively as running backs with some of these short passes as well. But we'll see how he dials it up, because it's going to be, as tough of a task as Ohio State was defensively. You're pretty much looking at a team that's every bit as much, if not even more so, on par with what the Buckeyes brought Indiana. And as we saw, they struggled against a defense of that caliber. So, and then you throw in the whole true road game element to it, and they got their work in store for them this week. But I think this is also, as we said last week, this is one of those where it's going to be a chance for them to hopefully make up for some of the failures in the Ohio State game and be a little more competitive in every element of the game throughout the game. With any luck, find themselves still in it, or at least give them a chance late in the game. And we'll see what can happen. But I think this is a great chance for this team to set the tone for how the rest of the Big Ten season is going to go. Because let's be honest, the non-conference wasn't, the toughest schedule. I think, various services had them in the hundreds to high hundreds, even as far as overall SOS. So this is where the rubber's going to hit the road now, and hopefully now that we've got a little bit of the season under their belt, we get a sense for what this team can really do here.
Yeah, and Indiana's kind of going to catch Michigan State off guard a little bit because the fact of who's starting at quarterback is actually an unknown. And I mentioned that today to Tom Allen, and he said, yeah, it's kind of true. He goes, because I can stand here and tell you right now, I don't know who that's going to be. So Michigan State's got to prepare for two different types of quarterbacks. But hopefully, if it is a Michael Penix, the one thing he brings to the table, if nothing else, is the ability to throw that ball deep. And that is something that Michigan State has been very susceptible to in an otherwise very, very tight defense. But that is a hole that they have.
No, absolutely. And I think that's just going to make everything else that much easier. When you can show that you're willing to threaten downfield, Michigan State's great at packing that box up front, bringing 8-9 guys into it even sometimes. So to just keep some space inside the middle of the field, not just for the running backs, but opening up some of those design runs, some of the RPOs, but also it opens up some of those shorter passes across the middle for some of your guys when you're looking at, second, third check down options even as well. So it's certainly something that the team could use. If nothing else, it just makes the Spartans defend a whole lot more field than what they probably would be if they knew it was just going to be Ramsey going against them.
Other news to talk about in basketball, Indiana, I saw that their top target is Dawson Garcia, the big man out of Minnesota. North Carolina, they sign a big guy, or they get a commitment from a big guy. And then, of course, Kansas, NCAA says, hello, boys, we got a little letter coming your way, which was kind of expected, but there was a lot more than that I thought would come out. Some pretty serious allegations against the Jayhawks. But all that being said, I think that puts Indiana in a lot better position all of a sudden to land Dawson Garcia's services.
No, absolutely. As far as the NCAA stuff, at this point in my college basketball fandom, I will believe that the NCAA's got some teeth when it comes to handling infractions from the big boys when I see it. If the Louisville scenario is any indicator, I wouldn't get my hopes up just yet, but you got to figure that it can't hurt the Hoosiers right now. Anytime your name's swirling around, anytime there's some speculation or a cloud hanging over a program, and particularly in this case a coach, it certainly makes other options perhaps a little more attractive by comparison. But this is going to be a big hysteria for Archie. Even though he's got most of the scholarships already doled out, I think it certainly allows both him as well as the fan base to kind of focus their love in, on specific players rather than a really big visiting class. More than anything, man, I'm just excited to get back into that gym again. I'm excited to see what the 2019-2020 Hoosiers look like in their most recent incarnation here. And, we're going to be practicing here, I believe, at the end of this week already. So it's crazy to think, it's the first day or second day now of autumn, but it's almost officially basketball season in Bloomington, and you really can't beat it. Can't beat getting into the gym, just even, if you're not going to get a full scrimmage or a whole lot, of information to glean, just to see the guys back out there, to see them running up and down the floor. You get a sense for what the off-season workout looks. It's always our first chance to get an up-close look and see how some of these guys have transformed their bodies. Always exciting to get your first look at the new guys as they come into the gym. Really excited to see what all of this new class has. Obviously, Joey Brunk's been a leader in the weight room throughout the season. I think Cliff Marshall gave him the belt for the most improved or the MVP or the weight room champ from the summer. See what the freshmen are looking like, how they mold in with some of these more experienced guys. Get a look for Devontae Green as the official team leader this year. It was just announced yesterday that Coach Miller has taken up Duran and Devontae to Big Ten Media Day. So it's a nod from the staff that these are a couple of leaders that they're going to be leaning on to really bring this program up this season. So excited to get it underway, man.
Well, not only that, I'll tell you how close we are. Today is IU men's basketball media day here in Bloomington. So we'll be there and we'll have all that for you tomorrow. But yeah, that starts today. We talked to Coach Archie Miller tomorrow, but it's here and I cannot believe it. But then we've got Big Ten Media Day, which is next week, and then Hoosier Hysteria you're talking about coming up on the October 5th Saturday. So it's all right around the corner.
No, absolutely. And it's that exciting time. You still got baseball going on, at least in the major leagues right now. Fall sports football in full swing, and now to bring in some basketball in the mix as well. It's pretty much a smorgasbord. So it's one of the better seasons in Bloomington. You throw the weather in outside as well, and you really, really cannot beat it here in town.
How do you think they're doing on recruiting right now? You got Dawson Garcia, which is one of the top targets. Like I said, we got the Kansas stuff that comes out, which I think puts Indiana in a pretty good position for him. I know they've been chasing a point guard for a couple of years. That's something that Archie's been wanting to get, but hadn't been able to land. And they may be in the best position yet with that Andre Curbelo kid.
Well, obviously, we've talked about some of the needs on this roster going forward. I think one thing to look at as well, though, is with the scholarship situation being the way it is, with Archie really gotten them balanced out across the classes, he's got one open, one up for next year. It kind of puts him in a position, though, that I think that right now you go out and you take the best available because you're balanced enough. You've got depth at pretty much every spot. Perhaps point guard being the only one, but we still haven't seen Armaan Franklin, and how he may be utilized. I don't know that we're going to get a great sense as far as what his utilization for next season is going to look like until we get well into this current one upcoming. But I think Archie's in a great spot right now. I mean, we said this a week or two ago. While he's certainly got that one scholarly to shop for, it's also allowing this staff to really, really lay it on thick with the coming classes beyond that, the 2021 class. The 21-22 class and beyond. So I think it's really optimum for the staff right now to be able to kind of spread those resources more long term while continuing to shop for the best singular option going forward next year. And who knows, there has been some discussion they may over offer in either this coming class or the one following that. Which will always, be intriguing. I think if Archie can go out and if he can land a top-rated big as well as a point guard in this class, I think he probably absolutely takes it. But we'll see where it's at. But I think on the flip side, though, you find yourself in a position where pretty much everything is mostly set, and everything at this point is just icing on the cake. I think Archie's got to feel good with where he's at, what he's already got signed. With Leal and Galloway and Geronimo. It's an envious position to be in, not having that many spots open. You end up scrambling where, you get down to these decisions with some of these kids and you work and you work and you work. And then all of a sudden, something crazy comes up and you find yourself on the outside looking in and you're pretty late into the recruiting season. And there's just not a lot of time left to make up with some of these other guys. So to be able to avoid that type of situation and really focus on your priorities in the upcoming class and beyond, I think it's great. And, at the end of the day, one of his greatest assets in the recruiting tool bag is yet to be seen by a lot of these kids. And that's going to be Hoosier hysteria. The experience of getting them in the gym, feeling the love from the fans, looking up in the stands and seeing just what a special place Assembly Hall is, when it's packed up and people are pretty amped. It's an asset that not many programs in the country can match. And it's certainly something I expect the staff to employ to the fullest. Now, we probably won't see them get perp walk across the floor like we had in years past. I think that got indicated. That got marked up as a secondary violation. So there may be some change in the intro and the way these guys get rolled out on the floor. But that just highlights how important that experience is from a recruiting standpoint to really impress upon these kids just what a special basketball place Indiana University can be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the first time that Jordan Geronimo makes ESPN's top 10 at night, and you hear the call because you know what it's going to be. Geronimo! I mean, you know that's coming.
At some point, Chuck Crabbe's going to crack, and he's going to break his
he's going to break character
trademark tempo that he speaks with, and he's going to have to let it loose at some point.
Yeah, this plain old Geronimo 2-pointer not going to work. He's got to cut her loose one time.
He watches enough soccer. I know he's seen the highlights. It'll come out.
Chronic, man, I can't thank you enough, brother. It's always a pleasure. I appreciate you so much. Look forward to doing it each and every week.
Pleasure being on, man. We'll catch you guys next week.
Have a great one. When you guys got another episode coming out?
We just texted about this today. We got one in the can. I'm waiting for it to drop. We just got done talking with Coach Arid last week. Hopefully I didn't screw that one up too bad, and they're going to release it. We got a fresh one coming out. I think we're going to record Wednesday this week, so look for it tomorrow or Thursday at the latest. Sometimes the publication, once we do these, Zach's all corporate. Indy Star being the behemoth that it is, once we cut the file, we just send it up there and it's out of our hands at this point. So we'll at least have one in the can Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. So look for it sometime thereafter.
You're talking about Zach Osterman along with Chronic Hoosier, and mind your banners. Make sure you catch it right there. Chronic, thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, man. We'll see you.
You bet. Hey, we're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Taking out the hall, making sure the coast is clear. Looking at the stars now, there ain't nobody here. My buddy sits, big and tall. To get caught would surely be the death of us all. Smoking in the boys' room. I was smoking in the boys' room.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Of course, coming to you from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios here on this Tuesday, September 24th. Beautiful day outside. Today is IU Basketball Media Day. We'll be meeting with the players. Have all that for you tomorrow and the days after that as we head towards Hoosier Hysteria a week from this Saturday at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Crazy it's already here, man. Crazy. I wonder what kind of event do they have out at Lawrence, Kansas.
Would you care to comment on the rumor that you arranged for an automobile to be purchased for Neon Bedot?
Oh, I wonder how Neon Bedot's doing out in Lawrence, Kansas this morning. Kansas, of course, hit with notice of allegations from the NCAA. 3 level ones. Lack of institutional control. Bill Self, man. Congratulations on those 14 consecutive titles that you won. It's good to see when those that need to be caught get caught. Now to see if anything happens. Get this game back on a little bit equal footing, more of an equal footing. Because it's gotten way out of control, folks. Way out of control. There are coaches coaching that shouldn't be coaching because of what they've done, what they've allowed to happen. We'll see how it washes out. Indiana, of course, on the recruiting trail right now. Saw Andre Curbelo. He cut his list down to 5. That includes Indiana, the Miami Hurricanes, the Illini, Oregon, and St. John's. I guess it's because I just don't see St. John's having a chance. I think Oregon is too far away. I don't see the Illini having a chance. I think this one comes down to Indiana and Miami, which that's where what's the kid that was from the Northeast that ended up out down there in Miami that everybody thought was going to be going to Indiana until Geronimo signed? Daggone it. Already forgotten his name. Oh, well. That's why we've forgotten him. He didn't come to Indiana, so nobody cares. I'm surprised that Tim hasn't texted us in with that one yet. The mind's a terrible thing to waste. But Caleb First also received a visit from Archie yesterday, and I think that Caleb First visited Virginia last weekend on an official. Bruiser Flint was up at Archbishop High School checking out class of 2020 point guard Russell Diggins. He's number 84 point guard in the class. Oh, they may be in good shape with Curbelo. We'll see how that works out. Miami's Miami's in Florida, baby. And Curbelo is Puerto Rican, of Puerto Rican descent. It may be a draw. We'll see how it ends up for the Hoosiers. Hoosier Hysteria coming up. They're going to get some visits lined up that we don't know about just yet. Of course, Anthony Lee and Trey Galloway will be there taking their official visits they hadn't taken just yet. Indiana Soccer's on the road tonight up in Indianapolis at Butler, at the Butler Bowl. That'll be an exciting environment. On the football field, the Hoosiers travel to East Lansing this Saturday to take on the Spartans. In a game that I think is winnable by Indiana if they've got Michael Penix at quarterback. Right now, they're a 14-point underdog. It's a lot of points if you got Michael Penix in the game, but we'll see how that works out. Tom Allen talked about the battle that will be coming as the Hoosiers will be taking on the Spartans in yesterday's weekly press conference. Let's hear what the coach had to say.
And now we focus our attention on a really good football team, Michigan State Spartans, and Coach D'Antonio is one of the guys I have a tremendous amount of respect for in this profession and the way he runs his program and how hard his kids play and how well they play. So a really good football team that we've got. Very familiar with them. A lot of the same guys we've placed the last few years. I actually went back and was watching, the 2017 game and a lot of their same players, were playing then, and quarterback is one of them, and just a really talented player, big-time arm, and big offensive linemen and talented receivers, and defensively they're really impressive, and so their linebacker, the Bocce kid's just one of the best in the country, and just plays so hard. Fundamental, D-line's impressive. Whole unit's really impressive group. So I know Coach D'Antonio takes a lot of pride in their defense and them playing well. And they've obviously had that one game where they probably should have won but didn't. But other than that, going up to East Lansing in a tough environment to be able to do what we know we need to do, which is go and play well on the road and play well in conference games and to continue to build our program. So excited about the opportunity this week. The brass spittoon is what we're playing for. It's our first trophy game, and we'll do a good job in the morning explaining what that is to our new guys that are just here, and understand that this game means a lot to our program. So, got to get our guys ready.
The old brass spittoon. What they're playing for, like you heard Coach Allen say. One of the things I asked Coach Allen, they have a legit shot. They're kind of going into this game with some mystery. There was no mystery to me last week on whether or not Michael Penix was going to play. We most of us knew that he wasn't going to play because he wasn't needed in that game, and they were going to need him in this one, so they had to get him as healthy as possible, if at all possible, for him to play. And with that said, though, it's legitimate that they don't know who the quarterback is right now. They're planning on him being the starter, but they can't guarantee it. But they're not going to tell you that. Neither would I. I've said that before. I wouldn't say it either now. Not at this point. Now you use it as to your advantage, if at all possible. Because Michigan State actually doesn't know who's going to play. They're probably preparing for Michael Penix because the preparation for Peyton Ramsey is much less. Number one. Number two, they played him 2 years in a row already. They know him. But Indiana does have a slight advantage because they don't know who that quarterback's going to be. I asked him that question.
Knowing that the question is legitimate on who's going to be quarterback this week, does it give you a rare opportunity to have kind of a leg up with Michigan State not knowing who they're going to prepare for because they're very different quarterbacks?
Yeah, I guess in some ways that would be, because I've been on that side of it as well when you're not sure who it's going to be. And I truly stand right here in front of you and tell you, I don't know, who it's going to be, so they don't either. So I guess that may give us a little bit of an advantage in that regard because they'll have to prepare for both. But yeah, and I think you just have to schematically, be able to cover your bases and be prepared for whatever options may occur. And so, I think that's one way to look at it for sure.
That was Coach Allen talking about the advantage of Michigan State not knowing who the quarterback is. Now, one of the disadvantages Indiana is going to face is they're going to be without Coy Cronk. He's a senior lineman. He is an anchor at that position. He is a captain on this team. So you can see how much he brings to this team and leadership and play. So that's a tough loss, man. That's just a tough loss to lose, especially when you only have so much depth at that position. You lose a guy he's a senior, man. That says a lot. He's a captain. That says a lot. Talk to Coach Allen about that loss and what it means to them.
Just injury update. Coy Cronk, unfortunately, as many of you saw during the game, experienced a lower leg injury that was serious, and so he'll be having surgery this week, and he'll be out for the season. And not career-ending, so he'll bounce back, but tough break for him. And love that guy, just everything he brings to our program and has brought to our program, and one of our captains, one of our leaders. So as you saw the guys rallied around him, and you can just tell by the way the team responded in an impromptu way to him on the field. But I thought it was pretty awesome. So I get out there and he grabs me. He's like, and I was just checking on him. He's like, Coach, it's way too far from my heart to kill me. It's the first thing he said. And then the second thing he said, he's like, Coach, man, it's a big one. We got to win this game. Make sure these guys finish. And it could have happened early in the game. So all I cared about was his teammates and his team and us getting the win. And he knows what's at stake each and every week. So great passion from him for our program. And just a lot of respect for Coy and all he's given to Indiana. So just prayers for him and his family as he goes through getting this thing squared away. And adversity makes all of us better. And so he'll benefit from this in the long term, and we'll be with him.
There's Indiana head football coach Tom Allen talking about Coy Cronk, lineman that was lost in last week's game with a lower leg injury. I think he's going through surgery this week, so I'm not even sure he'll be with the team this Saturday. He probably won't even be there to offer that support that they'll desperately need. But our best wishes out to Coy, that speedy recovery, man. What a tough loss. But fortunately for Coy, while he's a senior, he's a fourth-year senior. Then that means that he has an available redshirt season, especially since they only played 4 games. That rule coming into play for him. If he wants to play an additional season next year, he can do so. Man, what a boost that would be for this offense next season. Give these guys a year of experience, and then you bring back the leader of that unit. Whew, that'd be huge. Huge. Our man Tim texted in right on cue. Matt Cross was that name I couldn't remember a minute ago. Ryan from Whitmore, Lake Michigan also got it too. But thanks, guys, for being there. Yeah, I couldn't remember his name. I'd already forgotten it. Didn't care. Moved on. But, yeah, Corbello cut his list. I don't know if I think that may have happened yesterday. I'm not sure. But Indiana, Miami, to me, are the 2 out of the 5 that are the leaders in that category. You've got the Illinois, Oregon, and St. John's. And, St. John's is nice because it's close to where he grew up, I guess, but nah, don't see that happening. The Illinois has done a good job recruiting of late. I'm not going to say that they haven't, but I don't see him getting this dude. I think Oregon's just too daggone far away. I think IU and Miami are fighting it out for this one too. I think that's what this comes down to. We'll certainly see. I wonder who all's going to be in attendance for Hoosier Hysteria. It's a week and a half away, a week from Saturday. There's so much going on in the next week and a half. Today's IU Media Day out at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall. We'll be out there as soon as we get off the show here, heading out there. Then tomorrow we'll talk to Archie Miller. Then next week on the 2nd is IU Big Ten Media Day up in Chicago. Then on the 5th, you've got Hoosier Hysteria. And then you've got Michigan State this Saturday. Fortunately, Indiana's is on a bye that Saturday. That makes it amazing because most of the times it's been a road game, but that stinks when you got to be on the road and miss. You got to choose between the two. This way you don't have to worry about it. We get to hit it all. If you're in the Indianapolis area, the Hoosiers will be up there tonight. They're taking on Butler at the Butler Bowl. I had that pulled up, but I closed it. I think that match probably starts around 7. If I was a guessing man. I think I may have retexted. I did. 7 o'clock at the Butler Bowl. Good match. Butler always puts up a good fight. And I can tell you, man, this Indiana team is young. Whew. Their youngsters are doing well. They got some good freshmen. I guarantee you, if they don't have freshman of the year again, I'm going to be more than shocked. And it may be none other than Herbert Endeley. The dude's the fastest guy I've ever seen on a soccer field. He's like watching Usain Bolt. He just gets it. And they can't catch him. You have to be – they foul him almost every time because you cannot stop. That's the only way to stop him. What's the old line? You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. But lots going on. Tomorrow is Wednesday. That means Matt Weaver's back. We'll scare up another guest. Thursday, we're back to the Indiana Sports Beat Reporter segment. Looking forward to that. Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition will join us. Taylor Lehman from Indiana Rivals. And Chris Solari from the Detroit Free Press. As we're in the Big Ten play, we're going to be bringing in a writer from the opposition, so looking forward to that. And this ought to be a little bit tighter of a game. I know that right now Michigan State's listed as a 14-point favorite. I'm not so sure about that. I think that's without knowing who the quarterback is. That may be a good bet to grab. I think Michael Penix plays. Now, that's just strictly my guess. There is nothing, I am seriously telling you, there is nothing, no inside knowledge to that. But we got a lot coming up the rest of the week. Of course, Todd Leary on Friday. Tom Brew will be with us as well, so stay tuned. We appreciate everybody joining us up till now. Appreciate Chronic Hoosier, as always, joining us here on a Chronic Tuesday. We got to hear from all the guys from the IU football program, and we'll be back tomorrow with lots of coverage of today's IU Men's Basketball Media Day. Until then, for Jake, I am Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.